Today on Expert Showcase, we're going behind the episode with our guest, Loretta Green-Warren, who dares you to dream, but also dares you to make your dreams come true.
Welcome to Expert Showcase Behind the Episode. Above me, I've got our awesome interview guest today, Loretta Green-Warren, and over in that other corner over there, you know, Mark, eventually doing these...
You're going to have to figure out which way to point one of these days.
I will eventually figure that out. Yeah, exactly. We've got our incredible interviewer, Dr. Mark Kosman. We just got done creating an awesome today. The day of the word today is awesome. So we just got done creating an awesome episode with Loretta. We're going to now have a great conversation about video content marketing, get you a chance to get to know Loretta a little more. Yep, you on the purple couch right there. Sit up straight, listen, and Mark, why don't you go ahead and take it away?
All right, so Loretta, just to give you the quick orientation here, you and I are going to have a little chat here about, you know, your background and what you do and how you became the expert that you are. We're going to talk a little bit about how you promote yourself so that our audience can maybe learn some things from what you're doing and get some good tips. Chris is going to take some notes for us for the audience to watch on screen while he's doing that, and then we're going to close out by flipping over to Chris and having him give us some feedback about what he's been hearing, and he's going to try and sort of package it a little bit for us with some thoughts about how we might be able to create some new content material out of these things, or some tips and strategies about video and video content marketing in general. Does that sound good to you?
Sounds good.
So, Loretta, we did create a great episode. We're going to show that for people in just a couple of minutes here, but first we're just going to go behind the episode here. So tell me a little bit about how you got into this this area of daring to dream and dreaming and you know, coaching, and I know that you write, and so there's a lot of things we got to kind of pack in here real quick about, you know, how you got to do all these things.
Well, it all started from a divine intervention, I like to say. I believe that God has blessed me with a gift that He wants me to share with the world, and everything I do is about inspiration, about inspiring somebody else. My motto is to empower women and girls to know their worth, and I do that through several ways, through my books, through my radio show, and through poetry and speaking events. So that's kind of how I got everything going, by believing that in this gift that I believe that God has given me and wanting to help make someone else's life better.
So the theme is about being inspired, thinking big, picturing a better future, kind of to guide your actions towards. Am I on the right theme here?
Exactly.
So I heard you mention a bunch of things there. So you write, and you mentioned before we came on that you actually write children's books, right? So you're trying to create, and you focus primarily on girls, right? Trying to motivate girls to get inspired, get empowered, and all that good stuff, right? Right.
I'm a children's author. I have a couple of children's books published thus far, and I'm all about, I want every little girl to be, you know, to become a better woman than I am, because when I was younger, there weren't a lot of people out there to encourage my gifts or my talents. So I want to help girls to realize their gifts and have the courage to utilize those gifts and talents to make their dreams come true.
That's excellent. So you're actually pulling from almost like an experience that wasn't there for you, and you're recognizing, looking back, that there was a lack that, you know, would have made your life maybe, you know, accelerate faster to get where you are now, and you're trying to help give a leg up now to young girls who need that inspiration and need a role model. So I think that's terrific. Right. So children's books is one aspect. You mentioned a radio show. Tell me a little bit about the radio show that you do.
It's the Inspiration by Loretta radio show, where, again, we empower women and girls to know their worth. And I focus mostly on women and girls because, one, I'm a woman, so I know what I'm talking about.
That's right. It's like when they tell you to write a novel, they say write what you know, right?
Right. But I felt like I said, again, this stuff didn't just pop into it was divine intervention. I never set out to do the things that I'm doing. When I was younger, I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur, but I had no idea, you know, what area or what field, what I would be doing. And lo and behold, God fed into my spirit all these different things and told me exactly what to do and how to go about doing it. And the main thing is to inspire and empower women to know their worth, because women are worth a whole lot more than they know, and it's my mission to help them to discover that.
I think that's terrific. Yeah. So you've got the radio show, and how long is that? A weekly show? A daily? I mean, what's the frequency of your radio show at this point?
I have a live show 3 times a week, Mondays,
Oh, wow.
Wednesdays, and Fridays. I have the show on the Blog Talk Radio Network, and I also simulcast through WDWL, which is based in New Jersey.
Awesome. Okay, so 3 times a week. That's a lot of show preparation. I'm empathizing. And then you speak as well. So it's in your spare time, right? You get out there and you do public speaking.
Yes, in my spare time, if there is such a thing.
Yeah, that's why I'm laughing. I'm hearing 3 times a week, writing books, speaking. So obviously you don't sleep. I've understood that now.
Yeah, and I'm the mother of 5 children, so there's not a lot of sleep in here.
So you clearly don't sleep to get all that accomplished.
No.
Well, so clearly you're doing, Chris and I are all often talking to people about what we sort of see as kind of 3 pillars of content marketing, talking about, that people need to achieve a kind of visibility. They need to get the word out there so people can actually see that they exist. They need to create some depth to what they're doing, so they're establishing credibility. They're demonstrating that they know what they're talking about, and then really kind of creating a sense of authority by really defining a niche and kind of writing the book on your topic and in your niche. And you're doing all of those things, so I think that is awesome. And I'm just pointing that out for other coaches and consultants who might be watching and listening who are trying to figure out what they could be doing. So you're doing it. Let me ask you how you spread the word. I mean, you're on these different platforms. Do you use social media to promote the show? I mean, how do you try to promote these different things that you're doing to get the visibility part going?
I mostly use social media: Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, any social media network that I can be a part of. I am a part of. I do a lot of word of mouth in my my neighborhood where I live. I kind of depend on the people I work with to kind of share, what I'm able to offer them, and that's pretty much a lot of it is mostly through social media.
Okay. And obviously, it sounds like you've been doing what I didn't ask you, but it sounds like you've been doing what you've been doing for a while now, so you've got that kind of layered depth, especially if you're doing a show 3 times a week. It doesn't take long to have a lot of layers of content at that point, that you're doing that. So that gives you that ability to frequently show up and demonstrate that credibility that, it's just going to be evident in the conversations you're having on your show that, hey, Loretta knows what she's talking about. She really knows how to inspire women and girls. So I think that's awesome as well. And then you're writing the children's books, but your audience is both children and adults. Do I have that right?
Right, because I'm a children's author and I'm also a poet. I have a couple poetry books published also. So the poetry book are mostly for adults, and then the children's book for the children. And
I'm guessing this poetry is of an inspirational variety. Would I be right to guess that?
Yes, it's
how did I know? See,
around inspiration.
I'm sharp, It's like inspiration by Loretta, a poet. Okay, must be inspirational poetry.
Yeah.
All right, excellent.
That's kind of who I am. I don't know how to do anything else.
Well, it's good to be consistent. That is actually part of credibility, is to be consistent, right, and to practice what you preach, right, and to live, to walk the walk and talk the talk. Well, I'm going to stop talking the talk since Chris has been clicking away here and typing the talk, and I want to just kind of flip it back over to Chris now and say, Chris, what have you been hearing in my conversation here with Loretta, and in what Loretta's been sharing about what she's doing, and what can we do to kind of take my meandering conversation and rein it in and package it somehow for the benefit of Loretta and our viewers?
You meander, Mark? Never. You're focused all the time. And
I'm focused like a laser that points in 100 directions.
Hey, Mark.
Yeah.
You're awesome.
Well, thank you. It's awesome of you to say that I'm awesome. Yes, we're making fun of Chris.
Oh, as everybody can now see how red my face is.
That's right.
It's just, awesome was what can I say? Awesome was the word of the day. Loretta came on, she was awesome, and everything else that's going on is awesome. So anyway, first of all, Loretta, once again, a great episode. For those of you who we're about halfway through this. you got to stick around to the end. We're going to play, once we're done with this, we're going to play Loretta's episode. You're going to love it. You're going to, figure more about how, figure out more. See, I can't even talk today. It's so awesome. I can't even talk. My face is frozen in this smile. I can't even talk. But you figure out more how to dare to dream and really go out there and realize your dreams. One of the things from that episode I love that you said, Loretta, was that everybody defines success. Everybody has to define success on their own. So that's one of the things that is great. Too many times people get in the world's definition of success, or you've spoken about your faith. You said it was a divine intervention. Sometimes people get focused on what they believe God's definition of success is, or whatever higher power they believe in that's greater than themselves. And what they really have to realize, like you had said, and I'm sure this is one of the things you teach people when they work with you, is you define success. You have to define what success means to you, and then go out and achieve it. Because if you're living to that, you'll be more successful. But if you're living to somebody else's definition of success, then first of all, how do you ever know if you get there if it's somebody else's definition? Because they might change their definition. So anyway, without me going down a whole tangent, just so we can kind of move on, is that something that as you work with people, whether it's on your radio show and your books, or work with people one-on-one, is that something that you do work through with people?
Right, because everybody has to realize, or discover what success means to them, and then go from there. Because like you said, if you depend on somebody else's definition of success, it might change, and you never get anywhere that way. So.
Yeah. Not to mention, it starts to feel like you're just doing a job, right? I mean, you're achieving somebody else's goals,
Right.
Exactly.
And who wants to do that?
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny, while we were prepping, we were talking about all the awesome guests that we've had on the show, and we knew we were taking it up a notch. And even though I've been on the Loretta show before, I didn't even know you were a poet. I forgot, or I conveniently forgot that. So you do the blog talk, you're on local radio, you're a mother of 5 children, and not only do you write children's books, but you're a poet. I mean, this and
a public speaker. No, you're cutting her short here. She's also a speaker too.
I tell you, it just raises the bar for those of you who want to be
guests. I'm tired just listening to what you do.
Well, what I'm trying to show people is that it's okay to dream, and it's okay to dream big. You don't have to limit yourself to one little box. You can do many things and be successful at all of them. It's just a matter of whether you choose to or not.
Exactly.
So don't limit yourself. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't do multiple things at the same time. We're multifaceted people. We can do anything we want to do as long as we put our mind to it and believe in ourselves. The biggest thing, believe you can do it, and you can do it.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I'll tell you something, for those of you who want to be guests on Expert Showcase, we're going to keep raising the bar. So put your applications in. We'll tell you how to do that later. But this is, Loretta has now just, raised the bar. I mean, we had a Who Wants to Be a Millionaire contestant on before. Here we go, raising the bar again. One of the things I want to ask you real quick, and then I want to get into your questions that you submitted about video content marketing before as we were prepping for the show. I know you've created books, I know you do the radio show, and I know you do poetry, I know you do a lot of this stuff. One of the things that I find interesting is what we just talked about what the success means to you. Have you taken that particular concept and created any content around it, whether it be a small program, whether it be a short video or audio series, just that one particular concept? Have you done any content specifically around what the success means to you, and how to define what it means to you?
Sad to say, I haven't created any content specific to that as of yet, but it's a great idea.
Oh, well, thank you. Look at that.
The wheels are turning.
You certainly can, that's for sure.
Well, and part of the reason I bring it up is because we've worked with a lot of authors and public speakers and radio show hosts, and it's interesting because what we find a lot is that people do things at the macro level. So they'll create a long book about something, or they'll create, I guess the shortest way without getting too deep into it, they do it at the kind of the big level. And what they don't realize is, because they kind of feel like they've gone past it, their brain has gone past it, is a lot of the items that are within that book or within the talk show or within their speaking content or even within a larger program can kind of be taken out, okay? And you can create deeper content about that particular item. You know, for example, we talk a lot about a core problem, 4 milestones to get from the unbearable present or the untenable present to the fantastic future, and then 3 keys to success within each milestone that will help get you there. And I look at something like, what does success mean to you? And to me, it strikes me as a core problem for a lot of people. You know, the core problem is not being, either living, either defining success by somebody else, or not being able to define what success means to you, or there's probably a couple others. So you could even create more than just one piece of content. So you could look at it and say something to the effect of, okay, the core problem is not being able to define success properly. Here are 4 things that if you do these 4 things, go from the untenable present to the fantastic future, this will get you there to be able to define success for you. And then within each of those, you have 3 keys to success. So if you picture it another way, it's pretty much it boils down to pretty much being a 12-step process to get you there. But it's packaged in such a way that it allows the user, the receiver, your client's brain to process it better. Because what science has proven is that if you take things in chunks of 3, that the brain processes it better. And I keep bringing this story up. I said, we got our validation about, at this point, it's probably about a month ago, when Dr. Oz even used 143 on his show. Well, he doesn't support us or sponsor. If he's watching, he's more than welcome to reach out to us. But
we'll have him as a guest on the show.
Yeah, exactly. But the point is that this type of breaking it down makes it very simple and easy for people to assimilate, to get that knowledge. Plus, it makes it very easy for you to create these small bits of content, in a quick and easy manner. That kind of all makes sense?
Yes, it does. Definitely.
Cool.
That's awesome.
Oh, thank you. There's that word again. I gotta get a little. I gotta throw out a piece of paper. Just a little sign. So before we get to your 3 questions, the final thing on this I'd like to say is that you can do this with anything within your books, within your repertoire, or within the topics that you speak on. If you look at anything that you've defined as at a macro level and start breaking it down and look for core problems, you can then start funneling it down and creating the base, kind of the base content. Like I said, it's almost like doing it in reverse. But what we found is that people who have a book, if they take this system and do it in this way, can very effectively create an info product that isn't just them rereading the book. It is actually teaching and going deeper on the book. So that's another thing that I'll say to you is you could use this to go deeper into some of the concepts that you have in a book and do it in such a way that it really outlines the step-by-step process. So you had 3 questions, and I've got them on screen right now. And we'll give you a little. I'm going to read them, and we're going to give you a little feedback. So the first one is, how does video content affect your business? Mark, I'm gonna let you get. I'm gonna throw this to you for a quick answer. And folks,
Sure.
If you've watched shows before, you know that I have to specify quick, because Mark. The funny part is, if you haven't seen it,
well, it's a big question,
Well, yeah, but
I'll give a tight answer.
Okay, because folks, for those of you who haven't seen it, because we still haven't fully put it out there yet, yes, we have a 15-minute intro video that we had to do a 2-minute promo for the 15-minute intro because it ended up being like a 45-minute intro video. It was kind of funny. So, Mark, real quickly.
Now you notice it took several minutes for Chris just to set up the question for me, and I get blamed for being long-winded. Okay, just saying.
Just real quick, short. One of the ways that video content affects business.
Sure. Well, one of the cool things about video is just that it's multimodal all at the same time. I mean, because you're conveying the words in the content, but you're also doing it with emotion, with facial expression, with body language. You're making eye contact with your viewer. So there are a lot of personality factors that you get to bake right into the content, which really makes it a great medium if you're looking to establish credibility. If you get the person literally looking in their eyes and sizing you up and saying, "Hey, do I feel that this is a trustworthy person? Do I buy the message? Do they inspire me with confidence that they're not just words? Because the words on the page can be misleading sometimes. I mean, so that's one aspect. There's lots more, but I will be true to the setup of Chris here and limit myself to that for the moment. I could go on.
Yeah, and that's a great answer, and the single word answer on that, and it actually flows right into your next question and bases on what Mark just said, is it positively affects business. It positively affects all businesses, because putting content out there, like Mark said, gets people to know, like, and trust you much, much quicker, because they can look in your eyes. They can see your smile. They can see your heart. They can see that you're being truthful. So it positively affects the business, which goes right into your second question: does video content attract more potential clients? Unequivocally, without a doubt, yes, it does. Because once again, people, it's funny because there's been a lot of studies now that we're switching. It's kind of this arc that's been going on. We were a radio generation because that's all we had, and then when we got to TVs, it switched to a TV generation because that was the new thing. And then parents tried to get their kids away from the TV, and they went to the internet and playing games and everything. And now we're going back to this concept of watching videos more. Watching videos and watching, whether it's short form or long form videos. Watching them more often and consuming our information via video. So yes, it does definitely positively attract more potential clients. Mark, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I'll just throw in. I think the arc you're talking about is right, and one of the biggest issues is that it's almost like if you think from the TV generation to the fact that it's like the screen sort of fragmented, and now we're all walking around with these little screens and multiple screens, and video is just a very easy way to consume things on a smartphone, let's say, where I don't know about you, but I'm getting a little older without my glasses on. It's kind of hard to read the screen on my phone, no matter how nice a job somebody did on the website. So I tend to click that video box if I'm given that choice, because it pops right out and speaks to me. So I think small screens are also a big part of the equation of how it increases your visibility to the clients you're trying to reach. So.
Yeah, exactly. And then your third question was, what is the degree of difficulty when creating video content? And I love this question because Mark and I were talking about this the other day, and it's like, this is the typical, you can do it the easy way or you can do it the hard way. We give everybody two choices. And I guess here comes the point, is when we say the hard way, you can do a lot of stuff yourself. You can go through. You can go through and use the software we do when we bring somebody into a studio, the whole 9 yards, and you can do it all yourself and learn all that software yourself. That's kind of the hard way. You can partner with somebody like us, who basically you dial in, and today recording this video was easy, wasn't it? You just kind of showed up, turn on your camera, and be done.
Right.
But at a deeper level, sure, you could very easily take a cell phone and basically point the camera and create the video. So they're making things like that easier. In the end, this question really becomes twofold. It's not only a difficulty, but what do you want to achieve? So you can do some video easily, or you can do it the hard way, or you can do it with us. But it's what do you want the video to achieve is really going to depend on the difficulty of creating the video content, right, Mark?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a broad spectrum. Obviously, I mean, there really is almost zero barrier for entry for anyone to be doing video at this point, as Chris said. I mean, most people are walking around with the equivalent of a studio in their pocket. So it just depends what you want the video to look like, what your audience expects from you. But everyone can be doing video somewhere on that spectrum, and probably should be, just given the trends. But if you want to go a more polished, kind of branded kind of look, and have that sort of more on the end of looking like it's a TV show kind of thing, then of course you are upping the ante of levels of difficulty, and it just, I don't know about you, but I think it starts to make sense. I don't want to learn how to do all the repairs on my car. I'd rather at some point go to the shop and have an expert take care of it for me. So when you're going to go in that direction, I think it makes sense to partner with somebody and not get too deep in the weeds with the levels of difficulty. So.
Yeah, and one more thing, just to kind of close it, and then Loretta, I'm going to go back to you and see if you have any questions on what we just went over. The interesting thing about the degree of difficulty is we've had a lot more questions about that, and we're right now in the background planning something to kind of illustrate how difficult and everything we actually do behind the scenes to let everybody know kind of how difficult it could be. The short version is what we do, even whether we started or we've known some other people who started similar things, it was very, very high at the beginning, because you're bringing together multiple shots, you've got different software, you've got all the moving parts, you've got cropping, you've got editing, you've got all these things baked in there, and it definitely there's definitely a difficult ramp up time if you want it to look like a show, have your branding, have everything around. Like when you see your episode. When you see your episode in the end, Loretta, you'll see all the branding right. You'll see the show background. You'll see, you'll see how, you'll see the end result of how much went into it. Yeah, that's not at the beginning, that's definitely not a simple task until you learn it. And like Mark said, we live in a day where you can partner with people and let somebody else learn it and just stay true to what you do, what you do best. Kind of make sense?
Makes a lot of sense, yes.
Okay. So from these last three questions, I know we kind of went through them, and I didn't pause to give you a chance to ask any questions during the middle, but and I probably got your brain spinning at this point, because we tend to do that here when I talk too much. See, that I wrote Mark into that "we," but it blamed me, because it is all my fault. But no, Loretta, any questions on the video on those three questions? Any questions?
No, I think you explained everything pretty thoroughly, and yeah, you answered my questions very well, and yeah, I think you covered it all.
Cool. Well, thank you. Well, then I think I'm at the point where I'm going to throw it back over to Mark and you for any last questions. Once again, great episode. And Mark, why don't you go ahead and finish this up and do the ado before the further ado, and then I'll roll the tape and all the other fun stuff.
Well, Chris is going to line things up right now so that in a second we'll actually play the episode that we created a little while ago with Loretta for all of you to enjoy and watch and learn how you can dare to dream, but actually do some more concrete things to make your dreams come true. So, Loretta, any closing thoughts that you'd like to share with folks before we kind of wrap up and get to your episode?
Just be true to yourself, be an original, and dream. Just keep dreaming. Don't stop. Don't let anything or anybody stand in your way. Believe in yourself and go out there and make things happen in your life.
Excellent. All right. Well, so Chris, wrap us up, and let's get to Loretta's episode then without any further ado.
Sounds good. So, first of all, you want to stick around and watch Loretta's episode. It's great. You're going to learn a whole bunch. If you're a coach or consultant and realize after watching this or watching Loretta's episode that you'd like to be a guest on Expert Showcase, and you understand that having this valuable piece of media content is going to help push your business forward, then go to expertshowcase.com, click on the big apply button. It's all over the place. You can't miss it. Go through the quick and easy application process. It was that process was quick and easy for you, right, Loretta?
It was.
Good, good.
Awesome.
Well, it was awesome. I loved it.
It was awesome.
It was awesome.
An awesome process.
So it takes a minute or two. You fill out the application, get it off to us. If we feel you're a good fit, we'll bring you on, have you as our next featured guest on the Expert Showcase. And finally, if you're a coach or consultant and you already know that having visibility, credibility, and authority is what you need to push your business forward, and realize that having video content marketing and a media property like this behind you will help you do that, then what you want to do is head out to VideoContent.Agency and check out the services we have to offer. Check out the 3 packages: visibility, credibility, and authority, and get in contact with us, and let's see if we're a good fit to work together. So now, without any further ado, I'm going to roll the tape.
Today on Expert Showcase, we have Loretta Green Warren, who wants you to dare to dream and dare to make your dreams come true. Loretta, welcome to Expert Showcase. We're so glad to have you today as our guest expert. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm certainly glad to be a part of this great show.
Well, we're absolutely having a great time having you here. We love to have all kinds of different interesting guest experts. Tell us just a little bit, help our audience get oriented. What are we going to be talking about in today's episode?
Today we are going to be talking about being a dreamer. Everybody has a dream. Mm-hmm. But what I want people to do is to realize their dreams and not be afraid to make their dreams come true. So I want everybody to dare to dream and dare to make their dreams come true.
Which is excellent, right? Because the dreaming part is often the easy part. It's the execution part that really matters. So just to give our audience the quick rundown, we always promise that we're going to really focus on 3 things that people can take away. So you and I are going to talk a little bit about focus, we're going to talk a little bit about discipline, and we're going to talk about completion. These sound like really important pieces to realize that dream. So let's take those in order. Tell me a little bit about focus and the work that you do to help people focus.
Well, when it comes to focus, you have to have a clear vision of what it is that you want to do. And you have to really take the time to figure every step or every aspect of that thing out. Mm-hmm. You have to concentrate on what it's going to take to make your dreams come true. First you figure out what the dream is, what it's going to take to make the dream come true, and how much work are you willing to put in to make that happen. So you really have to have your focus down pat in order to move to the next step. Because if you're all out of focus, you're going to be all over the place. You're not going to know what you're doing. So really have to.
That makes perfect sense, Loretta. So yeah, I mean, the clearer I can get about what I'm aiming at, then the more likely I am to hit that target, right, or to reach.
Right, exactly.
Right. If I'm fuzzy in my definition, then of course it's going to be hard for me to realize that dream, or I'm going to realize the dream, right? But the dream is fuzzy.
Right.
If there's concrete things I want to achieve, I need to be clear what they are.
Right. And it's good to.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you.
It's good to have a running list, write stuff down. For me, in order for me to be able to stay focused, mm-hmm. I have to have stuff written down like a vision board, or I have to have a to-do list, for each day to make sure that I stay on task and on target to get to where I want to be on a daily basis. So it's not something that you just do one time and you stop. It's a daily process. You have to continue on that path on a regular basis, on a daily basis, to stay, to get to where you want to be.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that sounds like a really good moment then to segue to that next point there, which is about the discipline. I mean, dreaming is wonderful, right? And even focusing is wonderful, but that's not enough to get you there, right? So what are you talking about when you're helping somebody with this concept of discipline in their work?
Discipline is, for a lot of people, is a really tough thing. Even for me, sometimes being disciplined is tough because, you set out to do something and then you lose your focus, you move on, you do other things, you let other things distract you or throw you off task, and you kind of lose your way a little bit. But if you stay disciplined, if you practice being disciplined, like I do with my children, you have to set guidelines, you have to follow those guidelines, you have to have steps that you're going to take, like today, this is a step I'm going to take. And you have to be disciplined enough to stay on task so that you can make that next step so that you can go to the next and then to the next and to the next. So discipline is very important. It's something that you individually have to do because nobody else can make you do anything. It has to be something that you want to do for yourself. So once you realize, okay, I have this vision or I have this dream, and okay, now that I don't just want to leave it there, I want to make my dreams come true. Well, there are some things that I have to do to make my dreams come true. How am I going to make it true? Well, I need to be disciplined, because if I'm not disciplined, I'll never get from point A to point B to point C and then finally to success. So discipline is very important. It's like one of the biggest things that you will have to kind of conquer or overcome to get to where you want to be in life. So I tell people all the time, once you decide that it's something that you want, make sure that it's something that you want and do everything you can to get that, to make that thing happen. You got to make it happen, but it starts with you. Nobody else can do it for you. Like my husband can't be disciplined for me.
Right.
He's
Wouldn't that be nice?
It would be nice, but he can't do it for me. It's something I have to, do for myself. And there's different ways to be disciplined. Like, for example, my sister and I are two different individuals. We raise our kids differently. We were raised in the same household with the same rules established for us to follow, same guidelines. But in our separate households, we're different. She's a lot more disciplined than I am. I'm a little less disciplined because I like to have fun. I don't want it to feel like such a chore, because who likes to do chores? Nobody does. So I try to make it fun, and at the same time still maintain a level of discipline. It's something that you have to do or something that you need to do, but you can enjoy yourself doing it. So that's that's how I go about being disciplined and staying disciplined to get to where I want to be.
Excellent. So we've got that focus going. We've got the discipline now, because that is the hard work, right? Because sometimes you dream it in your mind, and then you don't realize, okay, this is going to take a lot longer than I thought. I really have to stick to this and stick to the plan and work the plan. So now we get to completion then, which is of course where we want to get to. So tell me about completion. Tell me about completion in your work and when you're working with somebody else.
Completion is important because, and I'm sure that you've seen in your lifetime or in your work that a lot of people don't make it to completion. Mm-hmm. We start out on a path, we lose our way, and we never get the end result that we're looking for because we're out of focus and we're not disciplined enough to stay on task, so we never make it to completion. Well, if you follow this, if you stay focused, if you are disciplined enough, then you're more likely to make it to completion. And getting to completion takes a lot of hard work. You got to be willing to put in the work. You got to be willing to grind hard is what I like to say. You have to grind hard because nothing in life comes easy. Nothing good comes easy. Mm-hmm. And if it's something that you really want and you really want to achieve, you have to stay focused. You have to stay disciplined, and you will make it to completion. And when you get to completion, it's such a rewarding experience because you get to see the finished product of all the work that you put in. So, you definitely want to make it to completion because in the end, it's very rewarding. And every bit of work that you put in, guess who it benefits? It benefits you.
Right.
So,
right.
And completion is important, and it's like the icing on the cake.
Yep, and you're right. If it was easy, then it wouldn't feel all that valuable, right? I mean, if it was, I'm just going to dream it and boom, there I'm at completion, then it would feel like it really was not that big an accomplishment. It's that reward of having said you were going to do it, done the hard work step by step in that discipline phase, and then arriving at that completion phase and really closing the deal and saying, yeah, I did that, right? I mean, that's the good feeling you get at the end.
Right, exactly. And one thing that I do want to say, and I feel like I must say this, is when you get to the level of completion, it's like the success at the end. Now, I believe that everybody's success is measured differently. Mm-hmm. What I might see as successful, somebody else might not see as successful. You can't base your success on somebody else's success. Right. You establish what success means to you, and as long as you're happy with it, you're successful. If you've done everything that you set out to do, and even if it doesn't go exactly the way that you plan, or when you reach the level of completion, if it's not exactly what you thought it would be, you completed it. You did it. You did the work. You were focused. You were disciplined, and you completed it. You're successful. So never base your success on somebody else. Let you be the one to decide whether or not you're successful. And anything that you complete, I feel, is success.
I love that, Loretta, because you're so right. I mean, that feeling of success is just that. It's an internal thing, right? It's not an external thing. It's not I'm successful compared to so-and-so. It's like, no, I'm successful because I said I was going to do this and I did it. And I have that feeling of achievement, right? So that's awesome. And that's very well said. Well, we've been talking today, Loretta, it's been great having you. We've been talking with Loretta Green Warren, and we've been talking on Expert Showcase today about daring to dream, but not just daring to dream, daring to make your dreams actually come true, and a 3-step process that really helps you to achieve that, which is focus, really work the discipline, and then really close the deal, complete the project, complete the process, get to that internal sense of, yeah, I did that sense of completion. So, Loretta, I really want to invite people to get in touch with you because this has been really valuable, and I think there's probably way more that you can offer people than what we can cover in such a short episode together. So the best place for you to get in touch with Loretta is to visit her website, which is inspirationbyloretta.com, and we're going to put that up on screen for people as well. And when you get there, connect with Loretta. Look for the links that she has to social media links that are there. Follow her on Twitter. Like her on Facebook. Do all the usual good social media things there. Loretta, any closing thoughts for our audience before we have to part ways?
Well, I just want to thank everybody for watching the show on today. Thank you guys for having me on the show. And everybody, keep dreaming, keep dreaming, keep going after, have the courage to go after those dreams and make those dreams come true. I dare you.
Excellent. Well, thanks for being our guest on Expert Showcase today, Loretta. So absolutely, people, take her advice and do as she says. And another great Expert Showcase episode. Chris, what should people do right now?
Yeah, if you're watching this and you're a coach or consultant, imagine what it would do for you and your business if you were a guest on Experts Showcase. And here's the best part. Other than possibly increasing your business, an appearance on Expert Showcase is free. We give you a copy of your episode so you can use as marketing collateral, and we give you a coaching session to go along with it to tell you how you can best market your episode and other tips and tricks about your business. So what you want to do is head on over to expertshowcase.com, click on the big yellow apply button, and apply to be our next featured guest on the Expert Showcase. Now, if you're a coach or consultant and you've already imagined what having your own internet talk show will do for you, then we want you to head to VideoContent.Agency and check us out, check our packages out, and get in contact with us. Let's see if we're a good fit, and let's see if we're the ones to produce you and make you the next star and have your own internet talk show. And until next time, Mark, anything else?
I couldn't have said it any better, so just do what he said.